When Jennifer Patterson moved into a quiet Indiana farmhouse in 2008, she thought she was buying a dream. 5 acres, a barn, peace, and space for her horses. But that dream quickly turned dark. Unseen voices, doors opening by themselves, physical attacks, her dogs barking at nothing, or maybe not nothing. Finally, Jennifer received an ominous message that she couldn't ignore. Get out. I'm John Genoa. This is America's Strangest History. We turn our attention to one of the Midwest's most disturbing modern hauntings. And I'm not just talking about the events themselves, but the investigation that followed. It's a remarkable and true haunting story. Jennifer was 24 when she moved into the farmhouse outside Fort Wayne, Indiana. It was modest, but perfect. The place had character, exposed beams, a stocked pond, and most importantly, space for her horses. But even before she officially moved in, strange things started happening. Friends saw figures inside the home when no one was there. An unseen presence left behind strong odors like aftershave with no physical source. Jennifer dismissed it at first, rationalized it as best she could. I'd like to think most of us in the general public would probably do similarly. She later learned the house had a deeply emotional history. The original owner, Carl Johnson, built the house for his wife and children. After she passed, reportedly in what became Jennifer's bedroom, Carl became reclusive. He became obsessed with the house. He even died there, exactly 1 year before Jennifer moved in. And then the activity intensified. At first, it was subtle. She'd catch bits of conversation with no signs of the speakers. Old-timey music played from nowhere, specifically 1930s and 40s twangy country music. At times, Jennifer's dogs reacted violently to empty corners of the house. Now this is bad enough to scare most people away for good. Then came the housewarming party. A guest, who turned out to be a psychic, took Jennifer aside and told her quietly that there are people in this house, but they're not alive and they don't want you here. It gets even weirder. He vanished into the crowd and never spoke to her again. Now, shortly after that conversation took place, Jennifer began experiencing more intense activity. After that, stuff got real, like the attic door slamming open, followed by her dogs going berserk. She was pushed down a flight of steps twice. Oh, and let's not forget a disembodied voice whispering, "Get out." Jennifer started feeling like she was being constantly watched. Even with all this, the worst was yet to come. It started happening shortly after her boyfriend, Sean, moved in. I'll mention at the outset that Sean, who was initially skeptical, became a believer after what he experienced. Terrifying occurrences like a loud crash in the middle of the night, what sounded like a door being kicked in, but there was no damage and nothing open. In fact, the doors and the windows of the house were secured and locked. Sean witnessed a heavy object fly across the hallway and hit a wall. It appeared to move on its own or through some unknown force. It was really quite remarkable if it wasn't so terrifying. Their toddler began reading picture books aloud and showing the pages to something invisible in the room. Seems kind of innocent, but in light of all the other stuff going on, I could understand being more than a little bit alarmed. They took it a step further and actually reached out to Fort Wayne Shadow Chasers. It's a local paranormal investigation team. They agreed to come by and do an investigation. During that investigation, they captured clear EVPs, that's electronic voice phenomena, including one saying, "Don't go." They also got a male voice sneezing on tape. Now, this was unusual considering only women were present at the time. The team returned with an electrical engineer to ensure that there was no tampering. They found no electric source to explain the strange occurrences. Jennifer and Sean were told, "You can bless the house, but we don't think you can get rid of him." One of the spirits appeared to be Carl. He was apparently still emotionally tied to the home and angry about the renovations, especially in the basement where his family once lived. To me, it's like living with an architectural review board breathing down your neck, one that likes to kick in doors and watch you while you sleep. I'll say from the get-go that the timing of the haunting, being on the 1-year anniversary of the former owner's death, is truly remarkable. To the extent Jennifer was unaware of the owner's death and circumstances, which is exactly what she claims, it's truly, truly amazing. Experts in residual hauntings suggest that strong emotional imprints, like grief or attachment, can actually soak into a space, especially if someone dies in distress. Now, we know that Carl lost his wife. He continued to live in the house alone, barely functioning. He also died in the house, possibly still hanging around in spirit. Some suggest the fact that Jennifer and Sean were doing heavy renovations to his creation may have put him over the top. Perhaps it felt like desecration to him. There were flies, loads of them. Flies are often tied to demonic presence in folklore. Their presence and behavior in this case is extraordinary. First off, they swarmed only one room and repeatedly, without a natural source as well. They just appeared in the room and that was that. In the paranormal world, this detail is often associated with demonic or even poltergeist phenomena. Personally, I might describe the flies as something that literally appears out of thin air. How? I'd say we don't know. Come to think about it, there's a lot of things we don't know. Take Roy Sullivan, who was struck by lightning 7 times between 1942 and 1977. He survived all 7 lightning strikes. The odds of being struck by lightning are slim to none. The odds of surviving after being struck by lightning are near impossible. So explain that. We can't. Yet. And that's how I view this kind of phenomena. Unfortunately for Jennifer, it's one thing for us to investigate and postulate about what wasn't or what was going on there, and another to actually live through that kind of nightmare. Jennifer was physically attacked. Her dog saw things that she couldn't. Her toddler was interacting with invisible presence on the reg. Doors kicking open in the night. Invisible people having conversations. How about getting pushed down the stairs? One night, she got home and saw the silhouette of a man standing in her living room through the front window. Another time, Jennifer woke up in the middle of the night and saw a faceless man standing over her. Living through that's worse than sitting through all 11 Hellraiser movies. And it only got worse. Eventually, Jennifer and Sean, they had enough. After being shoved again, hard enough to injure her ribs and shoulder, Jennifer decided the house wasn't worth the risk to her children, so they moved out. You think it ended there, but the house or whatever was in the house wasn't finished having fun. Get this. Jennifer's skeptical parents moved into the house so they could finish renovations and sell the property. Even they couldn't escape. A fly swatter thrown across the room, unexplained footsteps in the kitchen, doors found open that had been locked the night before. I can keep going. How about a garage door opening with no one outside? Well, they sold the house. Since then, it's changed owners multiple times. As to the current owners, there's no public reports of activity. Would you live there? In 2015, Jennifer's story was featured on Discovery Channel's A Haunting. Much of it was over-dramatized, but curiously, key events like the dog incident and her multiple falls were left out. In 2022, Jennifer joined the United States of Paranormal podcast to tell the real story in her own words. Jennifer doesn't call herself an expert, but she knows what happened in the house. She experienced it. I imagine that this is the kind of thing that a person needs to experience for themselves before they believe. As for me, I don't see any reason that she would have to lie. She hasn't sought the limelight, at least not to my knowledge. She hasn't tried to monetize her experience. I don't know, but I'm convinced of her sincerity. And that's something. I suspect it's more than enough for her. But how about you? I suppose the real question is whether it's enough for you, and that's where we'll leave it. This is America's Strangest History. Keep your eyes and ears open, and thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please consider clicking like and subscribe if you're new and want to see more.